Hey folks, it's Tom, your Frugal Prepper with the Equinox here. This is not what you want to see on your temperature gauge on a 3.4. But the engine doesn't smell hot, the fans aren't kicked into high speed, it doesn't seem hot at all. I think I have a Lion temperature gauge, which is kind of a common problem on these. But I'm going to go ahead and let's plug in the Atron little scanny tool here to see what our coolant temperature really is. This tool updates fast enough that you can look at a bunch. So, engine coolant temperature, there it is, coolant temperature is 198, so that's fine. 195 degree thermostat. It should open here any second and start dropping back down. But she's definitely not overheating. So, thermostat might already be open, but it may not have kicked on cooling fans yet. So, we still see that the temperature gauge is a Lion piece of crap. So, typically, there's a stepper motor that controls these. So, if we turn the car off, we'll see that it doesn't go down all the way. On, off, turn it on and off a few times, it'll probably reset itself back down. So now, that's where it should be, right around in that area. So, yeah, that's enough to flip you out when you see that on 3400 that just cracks heads at the slightest sign of overheating. So we're going to fix this. We can send it out to that US radio repair place. I think they're about $225 to go through one of these clusters. But I'll go ahead and order the stepper motors, and then we'll do a video on how you take this apart and solder in the new stepper motor to repair that. Alright, so I'm going to start by trying to pull out this here console. It doesn't look like some of these Chevys that have a couple screws up here. This one does not appear to. It appears that this is all just loose plastic pop apart stuff. So let's see if we can't pop some stuff out. Yeah. Let's get our plastic pry tool. I'll put a link to this little pry tool and door trim kit that I've got in the description down below. These little plastic trim tools are just the bomb for this kind of work. So let me just get down here and pry up on this. There we go. That's loose. Yeah, that's loose. Alright, yeah, we just got these little metal clippies under here that you gotta pop out. There, right there. Okay, it's looking like this is actually probably a 6mm. Let's see here. Yeah, it's a 6. There's one. There's our other bolt. The top two ones. You gotta be kidding me. Alright, so don't do what I did and drop your bolt down here. I had to take this all loose. And I see something shiny and silvery down in here. Clear at the bottom. Oh. Oh yeah, there we go. Alright. Now I gotta pop all this crap back together. So yeah, if it falls down this side, it hits this metal bar and goes right down to the bottom of this center console under there. So this does just pop apart. Get this back in park here. I'll turn the key off now. And you do have to take this little thing off first from down in the middle of the console. I'll put that back on later. Anyway, now we can get back to what we were doing and take this apart, hopefully. Have that bolt. Now there's just one more bolt up here on this other side. Alright, there's that bolt. So magnetic pickup tool is going to be your friend on this job. Those bottom bolts are pretty easy to get to, but these top two you got to kind of get back in there and not drop anything. So now the instrument cluster should pretty much pull out of here pretty free. And there's just going to be a wire in the back of it. Let me put the steering column all the way down. Pull that up and out. Okay, so here's this tab that we need to take out. So what you got to do is push this little black part down with like your fingernail, this little piece right here. Push that down and then pull this gray part back. Oh, I can get it. Maybe. Yeah, okay. Oh, it goes all the way. There we go. There, okay. Yeah, that's what that connector looks like right there. And then we have our instrument cluster all taken out here. So now we'll go inside and repair this guy. Alright, so I got the instrument cluster out here, and what we're going to do is just take this plastic cover off the front, and there's just these little plastic tabs that you got to kind of push down and pry up on this, like so, without breaking them off. That's the trick. Nope, like I just broke that one. Alright. They do get kind of brittle over time. Sometimes, if you just slide a piece down here, it'll work a little better for you. Yeah, that one broke. That one's already cracked. That one just cracked. I have to use a lot of super glue to put this one back together. They're just old and brittle. This clear plastic just will crack on it easy. Okay, and then there's two up here. I'll try to get these out without cracking anything. Okay. Starting to anyway. Oh, come on now. Try that. Okay, alright, so we got some of these that cracked right here, and this one came completely off. But a few drops of super glue will stick that right back in place. Not a huge deal. So now we're inside our cluster, and we can actually move these back and forth And this one is the one that's sticking, this temperature gauge one. Okay, so the next thing I like to do is we have to pop off all of these gauges. So they bottom out right here. That's as far as the motor goes. So what I do is take some tape here and then bottom that gauge out. And then just mark down the side of it with a Sharpie. Like so. So that I know exactly where that needle went to. And I'll just do that for all the gauges, even these little ones. Like so, we can just put a piece of tape in here. And we'll just mark it beside it. Oh. Okay, so now I'm just going to try to see if I can't pry these guys up out of here. There we go. And just kind of get this under here. There. These little guys are going to be a little tougher. There we go. Okay, so now we're ready to just take the back part off. And so on the back, we've got some little Torx screws that we got to take off first. And now I'm just going to take these little plastic clips loose. These are not as fragile as the others. So we can kind of just work these loose all the way around. Kind of keep some pressure to hold it up so it don't click back into place while you're doing the others. Just take this loose all the way around here. There's that. Here's our stepper motors that we're going to be replacing. And so there's just some little plastic clips now that hold this board in down here. I'm just going to take and use my little plastic pry tool. Kind of pry down under here and release these little clips as I go around. Just being nice and gentle with it. There we go. And so here is your instrument cluster board and all the circuitry for it. So what we want to do is take this stepper motor out that is for our temperature gauge. If you look at the temperature gauge, is the one on this side right here. So this is the one that's sticking. And alright. Okay, so sometimes the best laid plans just don't go quite according to plan. So these are the typical motors that I've always used for fixing instrument clusters and GMs. Now, granted, I usually work on older beater cars than this. These have the 4 pins. I don't know if you can see them. 4 pins that you solder here on the back up to the board, and they sit in there, and there's your stepper part. These motors on this one are different. So these motors have the pins in the front, and they solder this way. And they just come through the front of the board, and you got to unsolder them here. So while these are made in China and you can buy 100 of them for $4 or whatever, you know, these are not available aftermarket. There's one place in Germany that makes these called Paragon, and that place will sell them to you, but only if you buy a minimum quantity of 4,500 of them. So if somebody's listening that does this stuff, maybe buy 4,500 of them. I imagine like the radio, U.S. radio that redoes these probably does buy them in bulk. But the only place I could find is somebody that pulls them off of other instrument clusters that they get from salvage vehicles, certifies that they work right, and then resells a used one. That's always an option, except they want $27 for one used motor, and I don't really want to wait for it to come. So the nice thing is that website listed all the cars that use this particular motor, all the GM vehicles and years. So I'll put a link, I'll put that in the description down below. But I'm going to go over to the junkyard tomorrow and see if I can get an instrument cluster out of one of those vehicles. And hopefully it'll maybe have a battery in it and I can verify that it works. And then we can get that motor. So then once we do that, we just have to unsolder it here on the top, drop it out, put the new one in, and we should be all good to go. So these also look like they use the LED lights for the bulbs rather than the actual little bulbs. Your older instrument clusters used to use these little grain of wheat bulbs is what I call them, that you could replace. This is all LED here. So that's fine. We're just going to go with it. I'm going to pull the Equinox up out of the driveway for the night, and I can take the old Hyundai over to the junkyard tomorrow and see if I can find a cluster. Anyway, we'll be back.